Ty, you know the drill, man. So I got a trade for you. It's a 12-team Superflex PPR 1.75 tight end premium start 10. You going Drake London or the 108?
Ooh, that Drake London name. You see it in the Dynasty streets all the time these days. I mean, depends on the team for me, but the 108 is going to give you liquidity no matter how you look at it. Drake London, I think, has a great shot of being what we hope he can be and what he's projected to be. But that 108 could be Drake London. It could be anything. You can trade it for someone like Drake London. I'd take the 108 in that case.
So what if it were Drake London to the 110?
Drake London
I
110.
get the flexibility and I get the liquidity of the 110, but where are you going? Where are you going there?
I feel like that 108, like Scott's been talking about, I feel like that's going to jump up into that second tier. 110 is, I don't know how high you're going to get there. I'll take Drake London in that case and figure I can do more with Drake London.
Sure. All right, so we had to start out with a quick trade, right? Anytime we go live on Trades of Buy, we have to start out with a trade. But everyone, this is Ty. He's one of our peer-to-peer roster reviewers. So we're gonna go over one of our Discord members' rosters, and yeah, man, let's get it started. So now you always like to start when you're doing your roster reviews with the war screen first, right?
Whether I'm doing a roster review, whether I'm starting a league, going to a mock draft, even I want to know how the war looks. Yeah, this is the first stop. No matter what. Shouts out to DestinationDevy.com.
Yeah, exactly. DestinationDevy.com. You have access to the War Machine here, and you see down there the Trinity Tracker tool is kick-ass as well. So sign up for DestinationDevy.com. But Ty, the floor is yours, man. Start talking about this. Start talking about this squad. But I want to, yeah, go ahead.
I got you. So again, it's a 12-team start 10 PPR 0.75 tight end premium. You can see up top there, studs matter a lot, and more so than not, you're going to see all four positions are very relatively in line at the top, and then there's some intricacies as we go down. Before I start, a quick 10-second rundown on war. It's a quick way to see how players do relative to their position mates and how that all stacks up league-wide. So it's a good way to understand roster construction, not so much player versus player takes. If you want more, Scott and Ray are going to give it to you sometime soon.
Right.
So I like to look at quarterback. We play in super flex leagues mostly. So at the quarterback there, you're going to see those top four are typically, I'll take another step back. This is a 3-year average. Great way to look at things, not just season by season. Like last season, quarterback scoring depressed. Over a 3-year average, though, you're going to see those top four quarterbacks typically are the top tier. They're going to offer you the most bang for your buck at the quarterback position. And then as you look, there's that teardrop there. And then it's kind of like a steady decline down to quarterback 16, 15-ish.
Okay.
So if I'm roster constructing, I want to make sure that I have one guy that can try to get into that top tier. And ideally, if I have a second one, that they can be in that top 16. Right.
Got it. And then otherwise, you're not sweating it past there. Okay.
I mean, again, you can construct around the backups, around the lesser options. That comes down to construction, how you want to do it. Ideally, though, again, in a relatively shallow league, give me the hammers.
Give me the hammers. We know that word, right? So yeah, let's put up the screen here so everybody can see it. So I'm just going to read it off, but it's a 12-team super flex, and it is a start 10, and it is a tight end premium. So I'm just going to read it over, and then I'm going to turn it back to you again, Ty. So Dak Prescott at quarterback. We have Achane and ETN at running back. Christian Kirk and Jordan Addison at wide receiver, Sam Laporta at tight ends, and then the flexes are all tight ends. So Dalton Kincaid, Evan Ingram, George Kittle, and then Patrick Mahomes in the super flex. So QBs are looking good, but go ahead, talk, man. What are your thoughts? What are you doing here?
That's a lot of tight ends, huh?
It is. He's playing the premium, but there's a lot of value sitting there. So I figure that's going to be one of your moves now.
Yeah, like I said, 0.75, that's good. It means tight ends start to matter. It doesn't mean that I'm trying to base the bulk of my depth and my flexes around tight ends if I don't have to. There's an argument for capturing that war and having kind of exclusivity in the top of the tight end war range. But in this league, wide receivers matter a lot more. Having those running back bodies you can flex in matter more. And again, having those quarterbacks matter. So ideally, I'm trying to move pick your flavor. Which one do you want to hold on to? Laporta, Kincaid, Ingram, Kittle. Usually you want to move the one that you can get the most for, but in this league, hammers matter. Let's say you want to keep Laporta. I'm trying to move Kincaid, Ingram, Kittle. Let's find a way to get a wide receiver hammer. Let's find a way to get a couple running back bodies thrown in. Let's try to mix things up a little bit.
Yeah, no, sounds good. So, all right, what are we what are your next thoughts here? I'm creating a graphic in the background.
Yeah. So if you look here, like a wide receiver spot, we really don't have much for hammers, but we definitely have some threshold options, right? You got Christian Kirk, you got Jordan Addison, you got Marquise Brown, you got Dontavian Wicks. Wicks, I like a lot more in best ball versus lineup, but hey, he has a little bit of an inflated keep trade cut score. So,
Sure.
Maybe you can actually move him for something. Ideally, like I said, Rondale Moore, Bo Melton, Xavier Gibson, and Demarcus Robinson. If I can't throw them in as like some change on top just to see if I can fluff up an offer, I'm pretty okay just cutting those guys and finding better use for those roster spots. Same goes for Tanner Hudson, Greg Dulcich. On this roster, Tyler Conklin. Like if you can move Conklin for anything, cool.
Anything,
Right?
literally
Right.
anything.
Again, it's just gonna be like this. This is a good roster. It has some of the names that matter. It's constructed in a way that would work. Like I said, I think it was highest in scoring last year, but got bounced in round one. If I had to guess why it got bounced in round one, probably because you had a couple lineup headaches. He didn't know which tight end to start. You didn't have the elite production from the wide receivers. Quarterbacks, you were probably fine. Like you were good at quarterback. But again, Patrick Mahomes, if you had that like one depressed game somewhere, right, where people got all panicked, maybe that was a reason. So I think we can do some more optimization, get higher in the wide receiver range here. I would start there. Do
And you
do
have
you see any names that you want to move, Clay?
well, I'm looking at the 107 and 109, and that's in the 207, the draft capital, because this team
Mhm.
is there. We don't want to waste Patrick Mahomes' years, and Dak is hopefully going to keep doing his thing. Same thing with Achan. We don't want to waste those.
Yeah.
Have some hammers at tight end, like you were talking about. 107 and 109 is what I'm looking at. What would you think about moving those two up? I mean, see how high you can go in terms of wide receivers. What are you doing with those picks?
Yeah, so I think you can go a couple different ways with it. One, again, you don't really need to get anywhere with the quarterback room. I'm not worried about adding a quarterback 3 at this point. I think in this league, quarterback value is going to be inflated. So if you can find a decent tear down option for like a Dak Prescott and stay within that top 16, cool.
Right.
But ideally with those picks, you can pretty much pencil in that you're going to have a shot at a top 50 NFL pick wide receiver. You might have a shot at like a JJ McCarthy if you really want to add that quarterback 3 right now.
Yeah.
Really need to, right?
Right.
But really, I'm fully okay with either holding on those picks as we get through the season. I'm not in a hurry to move those. Again, they're not locked down like a top 5 or top 6 pick would be, but I'm not really in a hurry to liquidate those and throw them in. I'm more worried right now about trying to move some of those other names. Or again, if I can move something like a Kincaid and a 109 and go get like a CD Lamb, that's where I'm fine doing it. Let's use some of that tight end name value, pair it with a lower pick and go. And I mean, we talked about Drake London. I mean, on this particular roster, I'd burn 109 for London in a heartbeat. That's fine with me. Right. So
you would have like right now. Right now,
right
you
now,
would do that?
I would pull up my phone and click send right now. Like I'm okay because I need more wide receivers to meet my threshold options there, right? Like I'm not rolling into the season feeling comfortable with Addison, Kirk, Brown, and Wicks. I'm just not. Right.
Yeah.
So if we can pair one of those and go up, cool. Same thing that goes like a Dontavian Wicks. Like if I can add the 109, the 107 to Wicks and move up that wide receiver ladder, I'm cool with that. Wicks isn't the one that I'm penciling in as like the threshold in a relatively shallow league.
Sure. Okay, so you're fine. Yeah, I don't really want to mess with that QB room too much, but let's see. Hollywood. What about at running back? What are you doing there, man? Sorry, I'm like my wheels are turning. I'm
No,
trying to pretend like this is my team and what I'm doing.
right.
There's not a ton of depth there. I don't know how much I want to mess with that, but go ahead.
Again, I think you can probably construct around that. Like, and we have Devon Achane, Travis Etienne, Alvin Kamara, right? 3 guys who any week could get into that top 12, that kind of scoring, right? But is it really optimal to have 3 guys in that range versus, paring that down or trying to move up? Maybe. In February, I'm really not worried about adding running back depth. But if I can move off a name and again, add it to the wide receiver room, cool. I don't know how much you're going to get for Alvin Kamara right now in the offseason, right? His value comes from production in season. Travis Etienne, Devon Achane. Those are the names you're going to be able to move.
Yes.
I don't want to fully clear out that room, right? I want to keep my construction. I want to feel comfortable knowing that I have guys that can enter into that top range. But really, if I can move one of those guys and again, just straight up copy that KTC value and paste it over into my wide receiver room, I
exactly.
feel a whole lot better with that, right? And I mean, you can really get creative with it too, right? Because again, George Kittle, it's probably going to be hard to move him. Evan Ingram, you're never really going to get what you want for Evan Ingram on the open market. So can I move, a Travis Etienne and a George Kittle to the Purdy owner, right? And try to get I'm going to pull this up while we talk here.
Go for it.
Let's find the Purdy owner and let's see what they have for wide receiver. So here we go. Brock Purdy. Wow. CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, AJ Brown, Brandon Ayuk, Deontay Johnson. So a lot of names. I bet AJ Brown's probably again, his market went right.
Right.
All right. So maybe some, and again, if I have a room of CeeDee Lamb, Garrett Wilson, and AJ Brown, and I have Brandon Ayuk stacked with Purdy, I'm not in AJ Brown's not untouchable. Right. So can we send Kincaid plus to get an AJ Brown? Right. Kind of same thing with an Olave on another team, right? Can I send a Kincaid plus to get Olave? Add in a running back name. Tank Bigsby, who cares? Add him in, right? Any of these running back names that aren't up there, if you can add them in as a thing, you're not going to get much for them, but maybe you can at least fluff up a deal with some of these names. There has to be one Antonio Gibson truther out there still.
There's got to be one. I'm a Commanders fan. I don't mind me some Gibby. He's warning track power guys so far. But
yes.
So we're partnered with the Dynasty Nerds recently, and this is the GM tool that we're going to start using in the background with all of our roster views moving forward. I thought it would be kind of a little bit of a clunky view for viewers on the live stream anyway, people watching on replay. So I thought I'd just use that other background, but this is what you can see in the background with the Dynasty GM tool. You can see this team, he's in 3rd place. You can see he's in good shape. So you can click around and be able to access other people's teams and see who has what. And the integration with Sleeper is sick too. All right, let's go back to this right here. Let's go back to the Sleeper screen. Okay. Yeah, I mean it's a good squad. Let's see what the crowd thinks. Everybody in the crowd, what do you think here? You start talking, and then we'll keep looking as well.
The crowd's talking again about Kamara. That contract's hard to cut, right? He's gonna do the thing that Kamara did previous more likely than not, right? As long as Kamara's entering the league, I'm gonna just bet that Kamara is gonna be Kamara until he's not Kamara.
Sure.
So, right, if I have a league that I think, or a team that I think I can win with, I'm fully okay with rostering Kamara. I don't think I'm gonna get anything from him on the open market. And some context we received with the submission, which again, thank you for filling this out with detail. It really helps when we're reviewing it, right? Is he traded Lamar for Dak, Kamara, and Kittle in week 11 as a push for the championship. So again, with this team, would I have moved for Kittle? Probably not the guy that I want back, right? But I mean, a tier down from Lamar to Dak, I have no hate on that, right?
No.
And Kamara, you're not doing that for the trade value. You're doing that for the production. So I get it. I've made a few deals. I made a lot of deals last year where I pushed in and I tried to trade that dynasty value just to get the points now. If me and Scott did one, I still kind of feel icky about it. But you do what you do. You can't really look back now that you didn't win and say, oh, it wasn't worth it. Because if you won, you would have been feeling pretty good about it. Right. So if it doesn't sit well with you, why? Is it because you already had an advantage at tight end? You didn't need to make that trade for Kittle. Would there have been a better return? Would you have felt better getting some liquidity back that you then could have made if you needed to get some more depth, right? Imagine getting the high end second instead of Kittle, right? You may be able to use that as you move towards the trade deadline further versus having your 4th tight end locked in, right? So there's things that I
Yeah.
could have done differently, maybe along the way. But with this squad, it's one of those ones where you need to add to the wide receiver room. Like you look at that Dynasty GM screenshot, everything else looked kind of like your quarterback room was good, your running back, you had enough value, but that wide receiver room was itty
Yeah,
bitty,
exactly. And that's what's
itty
nice
bitty.
about GM tools and all like
Mhm.
this is it's just such an easy visual here.
Yeah.
It's that little itty bitty portion, like you said, of the graph, and it makes it clear. And that way you can just click over onto team four, for example, is stacked at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Doesn't have picks either, but a little bit weaker at quarterback. And
Yeah.
you can be like, all right, well, I don't want to bolster other playoff teams. So what about the guy or gal in the seventh spot there?
Mhm.
Has some wide receivers. Maybe I can have a conversation there because their QB room is weak, something along those lines. So that's why a tool like this is mad handy. But
Yeah.
Ty, let's talk about the process, and let's
Yeah.
look at both of us here. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to move myself to the left side, if you wouldn't mind, sir.
Oh,
I
you
get
take
all confused when I'm not over on the left now. Um, so let's talk about the process. We have
yeah.
a couple different types of roster reviews at Dynasty Trades in 5.
Yeah.
Ty is one of our peer-to-peer roster reviewers. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Pose. So we have the peer-to-peer ones with Ty and Kanja's another reviewer as well. And then we have our live one with Shane and Scott, where you're in a private Zoom, you're live with them, can answer all the league contacts and things like that. But Ty is a fantastic reviewer, awesome Dynasty player, and does a great job on these reviews. But let's talk about the process. So if you wanted to get a review, I can go ahead and share my screen here.
Yeah.
The easiest way is to go to or just email roster review at dynastytradesin5.com and say, hey, I'd like to get a roster review. What are my options? Or you can go to dynastytradesin5.com. People probably haven't even seen our sexy website that I spent a lot of money building. It used to be dynastypandemic.com. But yeah, so here's the website right here, dynastytradesin5.com. You see roster reviews on the left-hand side. If you hit details, it breaks down peer-to-peer, live with Shane and Scott, and then a Heisman review. So it's the 4 seasons of reviews with extra merch and stuff. But yeah, contact us for details. You would click that, and then it pulls up your email client, which is not this.
Mhm.
And yeah. All right, let me get
Also,
off of
I
here.
perused the old Dynasty Trades in 5 store today.
Oh, did you?
I need a pair of those slides, man. I need a DTI 5 slide in my life. I do real bad.
Well, go for it. Yeah,
Real bad.
he's talking about our merch store, but
Yeah.
let's go back over to this roster and give me some last second thoughts here. I know
Yeah.
you spend what 45 minutes typically doing your reviews, right?
Yeah.
At least. Yeah, you get
At
into the
least
weeds.
I get 60 minutes plus typically. Like
Yeah.
I like to go through every team in the league, think about a couple deals to go through and all that. And then, like especially with this one, like my man, I think it's Robert, right? Like Robert, hit me up in Discord. We can chat this thing out too, right? But one of the things that he did say is that the owner who has Puka in London has shown interest in running back and that he really hasn't gauged the tight end market yet. Right. So a couple things. One, just don't feel like the first deal that you see is the one you have to take. Right. Explore the market, get a temperature around. I know not everyone's going to be active, but the ones who are typically able to deal. Right. You don't need to win every trade. Just get what works for you. So let's look. So let's say that you wanted to get Puka and London. Right. Clay, if I offered you Devon Achane and Dalton Kincaid for Puka and London, what do you say?
Can you repeat that again?
Yep, I got you. Puka in London for Devon Achane and Dalton Kincaid.
I will take Puka in London.
Right. So what's the difference there? Is it a Dontavian Wicks?
Dontavian Wicks, like if that's on one side of a trade, it's not even looked at. It's
Sure.
almost like what are you doing here?
Sure. So how much
I'm
fluff,
kind of a fickle trader.
Yeah. So how much fluff can you add to that to make it look good, right? Maybe are you aiming too high with Puka? Okay, cool. Same team still has like Drake London, Amon-Ra, Justin Jefferson, Tank Dell, Christian Watson. Like there's options you could go after. Don't go after. I'm not going after Christian Watson. That's my one player take. I wouldn't do that. But you have pieces in a format that you can sell the tight end premium. I think you can move those, right? It's the name value
Sure.
that you have. You have 3 names that are names, and then Evan Ingram, who's just chronically underrated, but good at football.
Yeah, he is. And he's honestly so nice to have. Like last year, it's okay if he doesn't have any resale value, whatever. He's what was he, the tight end 2 or something like that? And
Right.
that gives you the ability to then be able to sell Laportas. But
Right.
one thing when we're going through reviews and stuff and you see all these tight ends and you're like, okay, which one do you want to hold?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you said it too, but put all of them on the block.
All
Let
of
the
them.
market tell you
All of them.
what they want.
Yeah.
You have the flexibility to, keep just one of these 4 if you
Yeah.
wanted to. But yeah, it's interesting how he's leaning into the tight end premium, huh? I wonder. So there's one thing I didn't say about the process too. So once you decide you want to move forward with a peer-to-peer review,
Mhm.
we send you a Google form where it's definitely exhaustive in terms of the amount of questions. You fill out the obvious things in terms of your league format, but there are questions in there like how are picks valued, and there's like a slider, very highly versus nothing. What are
Mhm.
some nuances? It's a detailed form. I think it's pretty nice. It doesn't take too long to fill out, but we get a lot of stuff
Yeah.
before we even start these reviews. And that's what's nice about the live ones too with Shane and
Mhm.
Scott is you're in the room and you could be like, hey Shane, quiet down. Let me just stop you there. I tried that and it didn't work. Like
Yeah.
that's the value of being in a live environment like that.
Right.
But
You can send the trades while you're on the call and
yes,
see if you get the response on the trade. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty sweet. I bought one for my wife. I haven't gotten one yet, but I did buy one for my wife. Got her thinking about Dynasty way early in the year than what she ever has. I've had fun doing these. Had some great conversations
yeah,
afterwards
man.
too. So it's a great service. I think there's a lot of effort and like I said, shout out to the homie Kanja. We do good work out here. So if you
Yes,
want
we
to talk
do.
ball, we're here. We're here for you.
We're here. No, for sure, for sure. And let's pull up something from the crowd here.
Yeah.
Put in a trade. I see Scott and Shane in the crowd. Kanja, speak of the devil there.
Mm-hmm.
He had put in Ingram and the 107 for Olave, Kincaid, Wicks. Okay. And then
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
then he rambles on a bunch of other pieces, but I see what he's saying.
No. Like if those are 2 moves, like I said,
Send
if
all
you
of those
can, yeah,
types.
take that tight end, take that pick that doesn't. That again, I think it's gonna matter. You can do things with it. If you mash those 2 together, boom. If you make those 2 deals, you add Olave and AJ Brown to the squad. You didn't give up much of
Sure.
anything that you can't actually start. You still have 2 good tight ends in a league. Again, the format where it starts to matter. Me personally, I'm pretty comfortable going real lean at tight end, right? Again, like you said, I'm putting all the tight ends on there. Whoever has the actual interest in the league, I'm fully okay with moving them, right?
Yeah.
If it takes Laporta to get a difference maker at wide receiver, I'm moving Laporta, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to put the war graph back up
Yeah. Yeah.
before I do that. So when I put this on the screen, some people like get scared when they look at
Oh,
graphs like this
yeah.
and they're like, I don't want to mess with that. So when I pop it on the screen, where do your eyeballs go? You're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is where I need to focus on
Yeah.
this league.
Well, I mean, once I realize I'm not like taking a test in high school again, and I can chill out.
Yeah,
My
exactly.
my eyes always gravitate to that middle range of wide receiver that
Look at that
outscores
line.
all
Yeah.
the other positions, right? That's the bulk of where I want to construct like the heart of my roster around those like threshold wide receivers. In this league, like I said, I'm comfortable going up to 30, 36 in wide receiver in that range, but I know that I want to get the bulk of my construction in the top 24 with as many options I can enter that top 6 as I can. And that's
Yeah.
typically how I approach leagues. Best ball, more so shallow lineup. I want to go higher, right? That's usually where my eyes go is where's the crossover point and how flat is that tier? And then, yeah, usually it's just how much does the quarterback matter in this league, right? Is
Yeah.
it spiking above the wide receiver line? Is it the highest line? Does it spike the highest, right? Where are those gaps in the positions? Where do those tiers materialize, right? Especially if you're trying to play the tier up, tier down game, this can give you a general guide as to how impactful a player in that range can be. But again, we're not playing with names; we're playing with ranges here, right? So you have to just
Exactly.
take it for what it is and use it to help construct your roster, to remove those lineup headaches week after week after week.
Good stuff. Yeah, let's take a trade from the audience real quick. So Nate tagged at Shane. You will not reach Shane by doing at Shane like that. Put a space and then
some
Manila.
dude named Shane just got an ad. He's like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, exactly. Put a space and then Manila, but I'm not going to tell you how to spell Manila. It's an interesting way of doing that too. But Lamar are the 102 and 205, and this is a 12-team start 11.
Yeah. So I mean, start 11. It's still like on the shallower side, but it's that middle range for me, right? So depth matters, but it's not the be all end all. 102, you're probably ranging right around the 1-2 turn in a startup right now if you want to look at startup value. So you would need to kick something. 205 is probably like the back end of the picks that someone might trade up for. So for me, again, without knowing team, without knowing anything else,
I'm smashing Lamar.
I'm smashing Lamar because I think I can do more with Lamar, right? Like that's what it comes down to. What can I do more with? I can do more with Lamar.
Yeah, we got a lot of Lamars in the audience as well.
Yeah,
for sure. It's gonna. Yeah, if you want a Lamar from my team, I'm gonna have to disrupt yours.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna have to hurt. Like the 205 and all. Like yes, it's a piece in the start 11, but no. Need to gonna make it hurt, gonna bend you over. So what is this right here from Cody Smith from the Fantasy Draft Room? That's an awesome YouTube channel, by the way, too. Go check that one out. Maximum amount of picks you would take to move back in the second round to get an extra 25 second. 12 team start 10 lineup. What do you think? So say 204, say to what pick? 210.
Oh yeah, like easily. I think like the 201 to 204, 205 range, like you'll be able to do something with that. There'll be the wide receiver depth in this class is something fierce, right?
Yeah.
Someone's going to reach and take a running back. It's going to push some value down the board. I think there's a really, really flat tier that happens in the second. If you're giving me a future second that I can, again, just re-roll into next year and fill the gaps as I need to in season, I'm very okay moving down the board like that. If you're giving me 2 seconds for 1 second, 2 + 1 = happy tie.
2 + 1 = happy tie. Love it. Love it. Okay. Let's see. Let's do another trade here. And then we will maybe take one more peek back at the roster here. So go ahead and pop one in. We also have a bunch of hammers that we're going to hit tomorrow during the day. We're going to have a hammer stream. Scott and myself are going to go on there. But yeah, so what was I going to say about the reviews as well? Yeah. So email roster review at dynastytradesin5.com. That's the easiest way to do it. Or go to dynastytradesin5.com/roster review. And you can see the options there. Here's an inbox trade from, I'm not going to try to say his name. I don't want to mess it up. Mr. Malik. Inbox trade, 10-team Superflex, start 10. This one has kept me up for 2 nights. Is that great? It's dynasty football, and you're like, you can't sleep. Okay, so 10-team Superflex, start 10. Give Bryce Young, Josh Jacobs, Deontay Johnson, Kendre Miller, Mingo, a 107 and 25 second. Get Fields, Njoku, Rashad White, and Dell. Okay.
Yeah. So I have an answer in my head, but let's get there first. So
let's clean it up. Let's get Kendre Miller, Mingo out of there. That'll be easier, right?
Find the things to cross off in the trades, right? Josh Jacobs, Rashad White. Is that close enough, right? You probably want Rashad White, so add in Kendre Miller there, cross them off. Cool. Whatever. Fields and Young. I want Fields a little more than Young, so let's stop on that. Tank Dell. I'll take him over Deontay Johnson for what I can do. Yep. So it basically comes down to what? Bryce Young and the 107 for Fields, essentially.
Bryce Young and the 107 for Fields.
Yeah. I'm personally taking Fields and Njoku, White and Dell. I think I can do a lot more with that package.
Yeah.
I think Bryce he's going to be a quarterback that's going to score points. Is he going to be supported by the Panthers? TBD on that. But you're giving me Tank Dell over Deontay. You're losing the 107 and a 25 second. I can get a 25 second back.
Yeah.
The 107, again, it's not in that I can't move it tier. And if I can move into a Justin Fields, who, like it or not, everyone's talking about Fields in the Dynasty streets right now, right? People are making trades for Fields. People are making bets on Fields.
So for me, people are making offers on Fields, but they're making bad offers on Fields, and they know it. Like I wish I could pull up very specific ones, but I'm essentially being offered like the 110 and some, wide receiver 2/3. And it's like I value him kind of like 105-ish, 105-6-ish in value. And they're like, yeah, I do too. Kind of thing. And they're like, but I can't afford that. So I'm getting lots of offers for Fields. I haven't seen him moved.
Nothing that, that's fair. I mean, and again, it's the mystery around what is going to happen with Fields, right? Is he going to be the Bears quarterback? Is he going to be somewhere else? Is he going to be on the streets? I doubt it's the third option, right? I think he's going to play football. And when he plays football, his legs will generally give you that floor value. And I think that he could progress as a passer because we liked him as a product or prospect, in college. So
sure.
I'm pretty okay with taking the bet on Fields in that trade, mostly because I know that I can do a hell of a lot more with Tank Dell alone versus like the rest of the pieces in that package. Like, again, there's some names there I like. You can construct around it, but give me the liquidity.
Yeah, no doubt. So let's go to this. We had another inbox trade that I'm going to pull up for you from Ryan Connell. Good evening. 12-team Superflex start 9 at quarterback, Burrow, Cousins, Rodgers. At running back, Javonte, Spears, Evan Hull. There you go.
Got a list.
So Javonte, Spears, Higgins, Rashi Rice, Tank, Burks, Shakir, and then at tight end, Komet and Chig. Trade the 101 and 107 for the 103 and 104. Now, that's a spicy inbox trade. Go ahead, man. It's a 12-team Superflex start 9.
Yeah, the start 9. That says something, right? I mean, you have 101. Okay, so what's your plan with 101? I'm assuming it would be to take a Caleb Williams on this roster, I assume. I think I'm going to take the 3-4. I like to have 2 picks back to back in high leverage situations because I can control the board at some point. At 3-4, if the draft was today, you're looking at a quarterback who's going to be probably a top 10 pick in the NFL. And if you really want a wide receiver, you can look at Neighbors, right? That's kind of how that range sets. I think that getting the 3-4, if your plan is to go quarterback, it makes Burrow, Cousins, Rodgers more expendable too on your roster. So personally, I'll take that. It's not a bad trade, right? But if I'm moving the 101, I need something specific back, and the 103, 104 kind of fit that.
Yep. Okay, let's I'm going to move this one right here. Okay. All right, we'll see if any more trades pop up in the audience here. We went 33 minutes so far, 183 eyeballs in here, 84 eyeballs in here. Yeah, it's good that we have you involved in roster reviews, man. I've been thinking about the peer-to-peer thing for a while, and I think there's definitely a model for it. And we were actually talking about the pricing the other day and what we're going to look to do for that. I've got a menu that I'm creating, a graphic. Yeah, it's going to be sexy, right? Go up on the screen of the website, and we'll tweet it out and stuff. But $100 for the peer-to-peer. Or $99.95, right? That'll make you buy it, not $100, and then 150 live with Shane and Scott. So email roster review at dynastytradesand5.com or dynastytradesand5.com/roster review. What else do we got here? So Dalton, Fields, Dell, or Lamar in the 12-team Superflex start 11. That's a good one.
It's a good one.
He said also have Dak and Mahomes.
Okay, so that makes me pause a little more knowing your quarterback room. I think it comes back to what we talked about before. I still think I can do more with Lamar, right? I feel like I can get Fields and Dell or a quarterback in that top 16 range and a wide receiver too with a young name. I think I can get that for Lamar at any point. Just give me Lamar in that case. And then, hey, you can move Mahomes or whoever, right? Like you have more options that way too. I would just take the Lamar in that case and then, figure out what to do from there.
Sure. And then let's go to John Fisher's here. 10-team PPR start 9, no tight end premium, 1 QB. Hurts, Richardson at back. Wait, and has Murray too. Hurts, Richardson, and Murray. And then at running back, ETN, Pollard, JT, and Spears. Wide receivers, Puka, Devontae Smith, Garrett Wilson, and Addison, and also Tank Dell. Hawkinson at Goddard at tight ends, and has the 103, 4, and 6. Nice. So it's shallow, man. 10 team. What do you think? Is there a question here? Or
I'll think
is
of a
this a what
question.
do I do?
This is a pay to brag without a pay. I mean,
So
it's
first off, how do we address this QB room? I mean, those are nice QBs to have in a single QB if you're going to have one in a shallow format. Shane's crooked numbers, but what the hell are you doing here, Ty? How are you liquidating that?
You have 3 quarterbacks in a 1 quarterback league, right? So you're going to have some headache week to week. Again, what we talk about, put them all on the block. What gets you the best return? Running back wise, you have enough names there. I'm not really looking to, I can figure out running back or add running back in season when I know who's playing and who's smashing, or that week I can buy a running back when it matters. I'm not really adding to that. Puka, Devonta, Garrett, Addison, Dell. It's that Addison Dell range. I think you could probably do something where, can you take Murray and Addison and go get CD, right? Can we do something like that? Maybe. Hawkinson is, what's he going to be in 24? He's coming off the knee, right? Like I'm not banking on Hawkinson to give me production, but you have Goddard. So again, I'm not really, you said no tight end premium. I don't really care, right? I can backfill at tight end. So really, if I have that, if I can either get picks or go up at wide receiver, that's my first aim.
Yeah, no, sounds good. I'm actually going to share my screen here. So with the reviews, we're going to be using the app primarily with Dynasty GM, just because it's whatever, it's sick. It's their latest and greatest, right? Their desktop is dope though too. I'm going to share their desktop, even though we are going to primarily use the app. Apparently, it's more up to date here and there. Gets faster, pushes or whatever. So let me share the screen. But this was the team we were just talking about. So this is, we're looking at a squad. He's in second here in terms of rankings, and we were looking at that small that pie for wide receivers there, and we see, let's take a peek at this person. So
here, Clay, really quick, do me a favor, go up to the top and just click that wide receiver. Like scroll up a little bit and then click the little wide receiver tab. Watch where the team goes, right? Who's in first place when wide receivers aren't off the board? Your team.
That's smart.
Add wide receivers. You push down to second, right? So it's not that big of a drop, but see, like that's where we need to address. We need to address getting more productivity, more liquidity, more everything in that wide receiver room.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'll just hover over here. Like this one has Waddle, Nico, DK Metcalf. Yeah,
I know wide receivers in this league. Like again, because you did a great job filling out the form. I know that, like I said, quarterback and wide receiver values are inflated. Does that also mean Mike Evans or Keenan Allen?
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Tyreek Hill? Are those options available? Are the crusty guys who, maybe they'll retire? I'm smashing if I can get a Mike Evans, like those kind of guys on this team.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Mike Evans, and I forget what was the second that DK. What was the second that he had on the roster? I can here, I'll stop sharing the screen and go back here. All right, let's flip it back. So
207.
Yeah, the 207. I mean, what else would it take to get Mike Evans at 207 and not a whole hell of a lot more? Like send that now. Might get accepted.
And again, like I'm sending Evan Ingram, Kittle. I'm sending those guys straight up too, right? Before I send that liquidity pick, I'm sending those tight ends. I'm sending Dontavian Wicks, right? I'm sending Alvin Kamara. Like I'm not giving, like you said, right? I'm not giving you the best option out of the gate. I'm trying to sell from what I have, see if we can make something work. If not, what's it going to take? 207, a little something. Here, you can have a little Tyler Conklin, right? Here, take this Rondale Moore in the 207, right? Like you can take from your excess, you could add those things as fluff pieces, right? Tank Bigsby in 207, take it. I don't care, right? Like, the point is you can do things within your market here, especially, but the point is add points to your wide receiver room. I think you can compete in this league. I think the graph shows that you have enough value. I think you can do things with those picks, but if I can add a couple of veteran names and a hammer in that wide receiver room, I'm feeling great.
Yes. I like this trophy chase in the crowd. The
Hey.
other half of the fantasy draft room says Ty's buying old guys in the off season. I know.
I learned from the
It's
best.
kind of hot right now.
I learned from the best. I tune into the fantasy draft room. I tune into that overreaction podcast, and I get that good, and that means I like old dudes. Clip it.
Clip it. It's such a great pod. Okay, let's hit another trade or two, and then we're gonna call it an evening here. It is it's up late where Ty is. It is 10:52.
So
Yeah. Well,
I care about Dynasty this much. I'm sacrificing my sleep.
We're savages. Okay, so there's a name for you. Go ahead, Ty. You read this name.
Mercantage Plays.
There we go. Mercantage.
I always feel like those ones where like you don't know, like, is this going to be that one where I say like a sexual innuendo based on my username, right? Like I always think it's going to be that, but no.
Or that tweet. It was somebody sent to hammer. What was it? Bend over, Shane. Bought you a hammer. Yeah, that tweet. Tweet's gotten some likes so far. Anyway, 12-team Superflex, tight end premium, PPR. We have Joe Burrow, and then at wide receiver, JJ Chase. Mm-hmm. Everything else is cans.
Okay.
And then has pick wise 102, 106, 109, 201. Looking for guidance. Mm-hmm. Do we have how many starters? Mercantage. So here he's
hopefully it's start three. If it's a start 3 league, you're doing great.
I like you in a start 3.
No. I mean, in a roster like this where I don't have
start 11
pieces, start 11. Yeah. So on a roster like this where I don't have pieces around, I'm focused more on where am I parking my money, right? So that 102, 106, 109, 201. If I'm not really looking to consolidate that into a single player, but if I can move back, like especially with like 106, 109, 201, if I can move back for future value, right? If I can add a piece that I like, a younger piece, sure. But I'm just looking, where can I park my money? Because it's probably not going to happen in 24. Burrow, JJ Chase, that's a safe place to park my money, right? I'm cool there. I'm not really worried about their value falling off a cliff. So if I can diversify a bit with the liquidity, throw a couple cans in there, cool. If again, this is like the Lamar thing, right? Like if you're coming to me for Burrow, JJ, or Chase, I got to make it hurt a bit. It has to make sense for me. So it needs to move my team forward where I'm probably aiming for 2025 if that's the only pieces that I have in a start 11.
Yeah.
But I'm not thinking 2026, 2027. It's if I'm rebuilding, it's a year and a half, right? Like that's what it is. So it's one of those teams too, right? You could pick at the 102, pick at the 106, hit, and then make some moves in the season, and you're kind of in the same spot. But it feels like one of those rosters you're going to have to churn that 102 into something different and that 106 into something different versus holding. But you don't need to do that right now.
Yeah,
you have a couple months to don't move any of these picks until the combine happens, at least. And then when you're on the clock with that 102, you can do some more things with it. I don't really see a big drop off like we've seen, like let's say 2022, right, where you held and then you got burned. I don't see that happening here. There's going to be a lot of value in that early second range that you could trade into and get a future first, maybe something else on top for some of these picks. So
yeah. No, I like every time I'm looking at a team like this, it's like, okay, I need more 25 capital. I need more 25 first. And I always tell people, and it's kind of hard to type, to try to get the shittiest teams first. You know what I mean? You try to target the crappy teams. So like if you go to like a Dynasty GM tool, and this is all on your phone, the app, like integrated with Sleeper, it's bonkers. But you can look at the crappy teams and be like, all right, I want this first right here, you know, and then you just start going up the line. So
you can see the teams that aren't constructed well, that you don't think are going to bet.
Exactly.
Or like I said, you can start to zoom in a little bit. Where are the teams where 1 or 2 injuries, this thing can go sideways, right? Where that mid to late pick can come a mid to early pick, right? Like where are those opportunities? Stay open with it. But again, on that team, like I'm more focused on what can I make my 2025 first look like, right? Can I make that as early as possible? 2025 is next year.
Yeah.
God, we're already, God, time is weird. Yeah, like I'm not looking to add points because that's only going to hurt me, right? So I'm not looking to add a player or two. Like again, a Mike Evans, not a Mike Evans team. God, no. So if you can push some value, build up some future value, but again, park your money in smart places, which you've done with 3 of those players. You're going to have to split something along the way here, though.
Okay, we're gonna hit Tom's inbox trade and then do outro of sorts. We don't do an intro, and we kind of do an outro. Tom though has an inbox trade. I haven't seen Tom in a while. Good to see you, sir. 12-team Superflex start 10 PPR have Monty Gibbs, Rashad White, and Ramondre. So Ramondre for Kamara. What do you think?
What's the point? If you ask me who I want between Ramondre and Kamara, I'm going to take Kamara.
It's a player thing. So
yeah, I mean, I'll take Kamara because I like Kamara and I like old dudes apparently. So I don't know. You're not really getting much for either of them. They don't really hold much value on the trade market, unfortunately, right? So
yeah,
who do you like? Which offense do you want to bet on? Right? Who's going to stay healthy? That's kind of what it comes down to. They're both in the same range. I take a pick.
Yeah. This was good stuff, man. You were a sharp, you're a sharp Dynasty player, and hey, that's why he's one of our peer-to-peer reviewers, right? Put our brand behind Mr. Ty Declare.
Yeah, I need a hammer hat. I need an orb shirt. I need Dynasty Trades with 5 slides. Oh,
I think we should probably hook you up with that. I mean, we'll never be an employer of anybody, but I guess you're as close to it as you could be. We should get you a hat, right?
Yeah,
get you a hat.
I'll rock it. I'll rock it real happily. But hey, shout out to Boyan, Chase, Cody, everyone in the chat. Really appreciate everyone tuning out tonight. It was fun. Hope everyone had fun.
No, it was fun. So email roster review at dynastytradesin5.com. Say you want a peer-to-peer review from Mr. Ty himself, or it'll be Kanja equally as awesome.
You'll hear Kanja soon enough. Kanja's dope. Like you're not missing out. Peer-to-peer is, like I said, Shane and Scott are incredible at what they do. Peer-to-peer is pretty good. Pretty good.
You guys will mess around. So yeah, you can request a peer-to-peer. Again, it's $99, $99.99, or a live with Shane and Scott is $150, and you're live with them in a room, talk context back and forth. Yeah, man, it's an awesome service, man. It's good to be able to provide a valuable service to the community, and we can stand behind that price because it's quality.
Yeah,
it's quality.
For sure.
Okay, that's all I got, man. I'm gonna sign off, but check out Dynasty Nerds, our new partner, the Dynasty GM tool. You should join the nerd herd. It is sexy having the app in your hands. When you're in Sleeper, you can literally click into the mini on Dynasty Nerds, which is sitting right there. You can calculate a trade and then be like, yep, that'll work. I'll send Shane this deal. So all in one spot, man. Use promo code TRADESIN5, and that'll get you 15% off any membership level.
Most fun you can have on your phone with your pants on.
Pretty bad. Exactly. That's what they say. That might be out of future marketing brochure. Rich would say something like that. But anyway, appreciate the 140 eyeballs in here who already hit the like, because it's the easiest way to help out the channel. All right, I'm going to end this. Thanks, everyone. Hammer stream during the day tomorrow at some point.